Let's talk about our first buy, and that's going to be T. Higgins for me. T. Higgins is an absolute buy right now for me. He's wide receiver 17 in 2024, averaged 18.5 points per game. Definitely an elite offense there in Cincinnati. He's been paid. We've got the contract, 115 mil. On Keep Trade Cut, he's currently wide receiver 15. So, Coach, I'm going to pose the question immediately to you. Is T. Higgins a buy or a sell?
I mean, I think he's a buy, especially with this offense and with Joe Burrow. I think the question that has to be asked is, will some of these little nagging injuries disappear now that he's gotten paid? You know, if that's the case, then to me, he's a 100% buy. What are your thoughts on that, Tyler?
Yeah, as a T. Higgins dynasty manager, last year was a whirlwind due to those same injuries. If it's something that you think those injuries go away because he got paid, absolutely buy him. For me, I'm almost leaning towards where you want to sell him at this point. His value's not going to get any higher. He's still going to be the wide receiver 2 in the offense. So, I may end up actually selling him at this point because where does his value have to go but down?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like I can see that point for me. Like I get that. But at the same time, he's going to play more. He's going to help you more this season. I really believe that, barring some major injury. I think he's going to play more. He's going to help you more this season than he did last year. That alone. I mean, and Joe Burrow just throws the rock around more than anybody too. So that also has to be taken into account.
Yeah, I think if you're trading for him, you're probably going to have to give up an first to go get T. Higgins. He's right on that threshold of, is he a top 12 wide receiver? Is he, part of that second group? For me, I think he's somewhere around 15, somewhere in that range. If I'm going to go and get him, I'm going to tier up from guys like Jordan Addison or maybe Zay Flowers, Chris Olave. I think those are guys where you can add a little plus and move up and get T. Higgins. I think he's in a better offense. He's going to have established production. Yes, he had the injuries like we've talked about, but 18.5 points per game last year can't be denied. That's really dang good. If I'm tearing down to T. Higgins, I'd be looking at players like Nico, which is a little bit riskier, maybe JSN or AJ Brown. So I'd be curious, those players I just named, Tyler, are you interested in moving any of those guys to go get T. Higgins, or are you kind of interested in holding maybe a guy like Nico or JSN over T. Higgins?
All of the guys that you mentioned as far as tearing up, Addison, Flowers, Olave, I would be 100%, on board with that. Tearing up from those guys. Hoff there, he said, mind you too, Joe Burrow and the Bengals do have slow starts. You can't panic at that. That's happened year after year at this point. You just kind of have to build that in. Going back to the tier up, tier down conversation, Nico, I probably wouldn't tier off of. I know Matt's a big fan of Nico, especially. I probably wouldn't tier down off of him. JSN is a little riskier depending on how you think the offense works out with Geno gone. AJ Brown and Wilson, I would do in a heartbeat. I probably wouldn't even think twice about it, honestly. So,
yeah, Coach, what about you?
I guess the question is, what does it take along with Addison to get T. Higgins? Are you going to have to put a second round pick with Jordan Addison to go get T. Higgins? What are you going to have to do? What's the how big is the plus?
It's probably a first.
I think you can negotiate it. It's going to depend on the manager. I mean, you certainly have to make some sell points of, he's always injured. And then, a guy like Addison he's got a decent points per game too. Lots of touchdowns for him. I think maybe if you have that mid to early second, so say you've got the 205, would you attach the 205 and Jordan Addison to move up and go get T. Higgins? I absolutely would. Would the manager do that? Maybe, especially if they're a rebuilding team. I mean, team build's going to be dependent. If this is a contender, then yeah, you're probably going to have to pay up. But if this is a team that's kind of in turmoil, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of teams out there that had T. Higgins kind of struggled this past season because, again, the injuries. But he's somebody I would be looking to try and move up and go get if I could.